Not at Walmart. I mean, not paid. I've stood by the door at Walmart on the outside. I have the vest. I stand by the median, by the right-of-way off Walmart property, and I greet there, so they can't stop me.
Hey, everybody, it's the Williams Brothers Podcast.
I'm Gar.
I'm Steven.
I'm Neil.
I'm Shaler.
And today's topic comes from Gar. It's all on you.
Please don't announce that.
We should have a wheel that we spin for the topic at the beginning of it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That's
Yes,
a great
the wheel
idea.
of topics. That's a great idea.
Where can we get a wheel?
Well, all you need to do, Steve, is get the sound effect of a wheel. We can pick before the podcast starts, and so we already kind of know minutes before.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Then you spin the wheel, and it's going to be so and so.
You should be in HR. I mean, I'm the HR guy. You'd think that'd come from me, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So we
I mean, it's
lie.
still-
We lie to our listeners.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that-
pretty much
not
what he's saying.
exactly.
Just make it
It's-
up.
You just have a button that you push to make the wheelie noise. See,
We could have them all numbered out in a list and just ask Google to pick a number between 1 and whatever number. Then it is
Right.
random.
We could do that, but I like the idea that the wheel sound effect.
Oh, okay.
Just ask Google to do the podcast. How about that?
Yeah,
We're out of a
That would
job.
be good.
probably.
If we're going to ask Google to do something, let's get our money's worth.
Right. Right.
Right? Hey, I'm so glad because I know last 2 weekends ago you guys were here for the Alzheimer's walk, and I mentioned this great fly fishing event that was going to happen here in Orlando at Bass Pro Shop, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Henry Winkler attending and
Yeah.
a big mini convention kind of a deal. And so I went down there Saturday morning and expecting to be in fly fishing heaven. There was nothing going on.
Henry Winkler wasn't
Really?
there?
So, well, I went to the fly fishing section of Bass Pro, and the guy that told me all this was there. He was working.
Right.
And I tried to be nice about it, and just kind of casually say it in a fun way. And I said, so what happened to Henry Winkler? Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, 3 months ago, he said, Henry Winkler's going to be here, and we're going to have all that, and doom, boom, doom, doom, doom. So I put it on my calendar because I'm not going to miss this.
Right.
What happened to Henry Winkler? I emailed him 3 times, and he never emailed me back, and all that. I'm like, dude, he was never going to be here. You sent him an email. He didn't email you back.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a normal day at Bass Pro Shop.
I'm glad
man.
Dawn was ready to come down and see Henry Winkler because she loves him. She's like, he is the nicest person you'll ever meet. And she just wanted to go see him anywhere he was. And so I'm glad we didn't do that. That would have really been bad.
That's
Well-
depressing.
Yeah, I think this guy, he's a nice enough guy, but boy, he loves fly fishing. And so if you start talking, you're in for 45 minutes of fly fishing talk. And I get the sense he kind of wanted to be Henry Winkler's best friend through this.
Yeah.
And that
Henry
didn't
Winkler
really-
probably got that impression too. I don't
9
think I
emails,
need to
right.
go to Orlando to this.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm your biggest
Fly fishing.
fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
So I'm glad you guys didn't come down for nothing.
Well, I was really hoping that you would get a chance to talk to him and you'd become his best friend so we could have him on the podcast. But
That's what I was hoping.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping. I want to be Henry Winkler's best friend.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
we should
And give
send
him
him
that
some.
podcast.
We should.
Remember that time you were in Waterboy? Remember that time you jumped the shark?
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's right. He was the original shark jumper.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, when they say a show jumped the shark, it's
Jumped the
because
shark.
of Fonzie jumping
That's
the
it.
shark.
That was it.
It's the end of
Yeah.
happy days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we can just start sending him some emails. He's bound to, give him a couple of months. He'll be on the show.
Could
Right.
be.
Just like
With our luck, he would respond and say love to, and then we'd be scrambling to make it worth his time.
Right.
we'd be like,
Right.
oh crap! Now what?
I know. What did we
Would we
do?
ask him? Right.
Yeah. We're just 4 guys on Thursday night.
Right.
Yeah. So tonight's topic wanted to try and find something that everybody can relate to, and something that everybody can relate to is our parents. Everybody's got parents. So we want to talk about parents tonight, talk about our parents, talk about us as parents. We're all parents and on the tail end of the hard part of being parents. And so we're going to talk about that. But so I'll start off with just this question. Let's talk about how our relationship changed with mom and dad over time, from the point where we were young to we first kind of get out of the house, and then the later years.
Well, when you're young, they're everything. So they hand down the dictates to you. You do what it is they tell you to do, and you pretty much just rely on them. And they're sort of a given when you're young. It's like they're there, they're everything, they know everything that there is to know. Any information that I'm going to get is going to come from them, and they're always going to be there, and there's no question about that. You just take them for granted. They're parents, they're always going to be there.
And they're going to take care of things too, right? They're going to take care of you. You're not going to go hungry or cold. They're going to make sure everything's all right.
The other thing I noticed is we didn't know everything. There's a lot they kept from us,
Yeah.
trying to protect us from stuff that was going on, which is just a normal parenting thing. And as you get older, you go, wow, we never really knew how bad that was, or never really, they felt like we didn't need to know whatever that thing was.
Like, for instance, I never realized that where we lived in Birmingham was extremely high end, like really fantastic place to live, that we were very, very fortunate to live in. But I had no idea, no concept of that in first or second grade. So when I went back to visit and went to Mountain Brook Elementary School, which, by the way, is a fortress, it looks like a mansion that somebody just put a school in. I mean, it really does. It's just beautiful and very, extremely sturdy. And and I mean, when I drove up, I was like, that is a lot of building right there for an elementary school. That is a sharp looking, like a Beverly Hills looking building. And so when I went home, I told Dad, I'm like, wow, that neighborhood has gotten really high end. It's really fancy. I was surprised at how fancy it is. And he said, well, it was pretty fancy when we lived there too. And I was like, oh, okay. I never even thought about that as a kid. Didn't even occur to me. That was just where we lived.
Yeah.
And kind of on the flip side of that, when we lived on Isle of Hope, which was a nice place to live, it wasn't at the time. I wouldn't say it was as upscale as Skidaway Island and the landings and all that. A lot of people didn't even know Isle of Hope existed. It was just this tiny little place. And we, for a long time, had no money. I mean, we were, my mom and dad were scraping by with us 4 kids, trying to send us to school and kind of depending on their parents for support as well. And, I guess we knew to a degree, but I don't think we ever really knew just how financially poor we were, how bad it really was. But they kept that from us. They managed to scrape by, and things got better, which is good, but very different. It's amazing how life can make that turn, and we're semi oblivious to it. So,
that house that we grew up in was supposed to be temporary because Dad had some property on Bradley Point Road, right down the road from the yacht club. That they were also members of when we first moved there, and we were going to build a house on Bradley Point Road.
It was that close.
We picked out our rooms, the whole thing, and I don't know what happened, but something happened, thankfully, and so they bought that house on Isle of Hope and said, "This will, we'll be here, and then we're going to build this other house." And 40 years later. Still on the Isle of Hope house.
Yeah, I think it was the gas crisis. I think it was when the gas crisis or the embargo, whatever it was, happened in the 70s. and nobody traveled. And I think Dad's whole business was around building hotels all over the country, and it was booming, which is great if people travel. But if nobody travels, then that's the end of that story.
Right.
So.
Yeah. When I really realized things were bad, I guess I was 16 and I was working at a radio station part-time because that's what I really wanted to do. So I was saving up money to buy some speakers that I could put in my bedroom and then use for dances and stuff. And Mom asked if she could borrow some money for the house payment. Wow. And at that point I was like, oh, wow. And while I hated to give them all the money I had saved up, at the same time, it was like, well, how am I not going to give them this? I mean, but that's where my whole world like flipped. It was like, wait a minute, you guys are, I mean, this is what's going on. You know, I just didn't, it never occurred to me it could be that bad, but of course it can.
Yeah. I never knew that story. That's amazing.
I didn't either.
Amazing.
Me either. Yeah. And their house payment was like less than $200 a month. So that, and of course, you know, this was 70s and 80s. So just dial everything way back in terms of salaries and how much things cost.
This was probably like two payments, like probably $400 total.
Right.
It was just, I didn't know you guys didn't know that, but yeah, that was, that was not that was a weird moment for me anyway. After that though, I just forgot about it and went on with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember as I got older, because Stephen, you mentioned they tell you everything. They're the complete source of all knowledge and truth and all of that. And then there's a point where they quit telling you things, right? And I think it was really abrupt because I can just remember I would have to go ask, right? And in hindsight, I kind of go back to when they were younger, and I think, you know, they had, you know, maybe parents or other people that were hovering over them and telling them everything that they needed to do, and they didn't want to be that way. They didn't want to be those parents, right? That were kind of hovering over and saying, here's what you need to do. You got to do this and this and this. So it was the other extreme of, we're not going to tell you anything. And I kind of wish in hindsight there'd been some middle ground there where when I'm 18, 21 years old, they take me aside and go, let's talk about this for a few minutes. You know? I mean, you're a quote unquote adult, but we're more of an adult. And let me just give you a different perspective on this. Right. Yeah. And I don't know that I got a lot of that. I mean, I don't fault them for that or anything like that, obviously, but because I'm sure I've got my flaws as a parent too, which we'll talk about in a minute. But anyway, that was just one of the things I remember is you're on your own, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely the message I got. Because when we all moved out on our own, except for Shaler at the time, because he was still in high school, but it was Dad told me later, I guess probably like 3 years ago, he told me that was the worst time of his life. Just financially, they had no money, you know, professionally, he was not doing well. I mean, just the worst, lowest time, and he couldn't do anything for us. So it was just a matter of how do we get at least these three out of the house so we can survive, you know, and keep our heads above water. Right. And I didn't think about it at the time, but then, of course, when my car broke down and he told me, well, you have your health, you know, and then that was the end of the conversation. It was like, okay, then I'm going to have to figure this out, which, you know, was a good lesson to learn, but
nothing
at some
wrong
point,
with that.
Yeah, at some point you do have to do that.
I just wonder how tough it was on him to have to say that, you know, it's got that.
I couldn't tell from talking to him, but because it was hard on me,
right?
You know?
Yeah, sure.
I was mainly thinking about me at that time, but I'm sure it was very hard. I can't imagine having to say that. At the same time, though, he was pretty good at. It's time to fly. You know, you're out of the nest. You know, go ahead and do your thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate too, because even though there were times where it was great and then there were times where it was hard, somehow Mom and Dad managed to stay together for 60 years, right?
Yep.
So we were very fortunate in that. I mean, it certainly wasn't all roses. There were certainly arguments and things like that happened, but they did manage to stay together.
And every Christmas, this Christmas is not going to be that great. Santa's not going to bring you that much stuff this year. Don't get your hopes up. Pretty soon, it's like, okay, Mom, thanks, we got it. And every Christmas is great. I mean, I guess things could have been better, maybe, but for all the kind of ups and downs that happened in the background, we never really felt them. I don't think near to the extent that they were in reality.
Yeah, and it was always downplayed just so we wouldn't get our hopes up too much about whatever we might get.
Right. Now, I remember seeing pictures of our Christmas tree, when we were young, and it was a live tree, and it looked very rattly and, scraggly and
Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown tree.
Looking back, it was like,
matter.
wow, that was a puny looking tree.
I remember it then,
But at the time, it was great. You don't think anything of it. But it's just funny how I guess a kid sees a lot of things kind of through rose-colored glasses, and we don't catch it.
And how you live is normal when you're a kid. So whatever you that's how it is.
Right.
That's very true. Yeah.
And we were ready for a lean Christmas every year. Every year we were surprised. It was like, okay, all right, well, good. This is a nice surprise. And,
Exactly.
but the next year's not going to be that great. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of tight this year. Probably not going to get what you want.
Yep.
Did any of you, the rest of you, get to go to the flea market and with Dad and sell the car wax stuff? That was a lot of fun.
I missed that opportunity. Being the youngest, I missed that.
He sold car wax, and I sold carpet shampoo. Mm-hmm. So I was like in the booth across from him doing that, and as long as you don't take it too seriously, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's very, it's very fun, and I think he let me keep the money that day from this. And in hindsight, I should have said here, and just given it to him. But anyway, that was an experience. I'll never forget that. That was great.
Always the entrepreneur.
Yes,
he really
indeed.
was. He really was.
Yep. So I put down here, what do we wish mom and dad had done differently? Not in a bad way, but just kind of looking back on their lives. One of the things I wish that they had done differently later is traveled more. Because once they got rid of us and once they got into some sort of like semi-stable financial condition, they hunkered down.
Yeah.
They stayed in that house. They stayed on Isle of Hope.
But I wish they had traveled more and gone places, Europe or someplace, at least one trip like that to get out and see something,
Right.
beyond their front yard.
I mean, Dad had his experiences in the Navy because he did get to, see Italy and places like that when he was in the Navy. Mom, on the other hand, I just don't know if she ever was that kind of person who wanted to do it, It would have been cool for them to do it, no doubt. But
if they wanted to. I was surprised to find pictures of them at Disney World. I didn't realize they had ever gone to Disney World. So that was nice. I was like, well, great. I didn't know they even ever went there. So.
I'm glad
when we moved down and I was working for them, we took them maybe twice. I think we took them to Epcot, and then we took them to Magic Kingdom, I think. And the memory I'll always have is it was Epcot, and it was they do the big, I forget what they call the show, but whatever the big fireworks light show is at night. And it was the one from years and years and years ago. So we stayed for that. And Dad was just astounded. He just couldn't fathom. He was like, this is just unbelievable. I just don't know how they do this. This is incredible.
That's good.
Because it's the lasers and the fire and the fireworks and all of that. And he was really overwhelmed. It was really something.
Good.
So they got to go to Disney and got their picture taken with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's the picture I saw, I think. So, they're very happy in the picture.
Yeah. Yep.
The other thing I wish they had done differently was during the time when we could have used this, they were too deep in trying to survive. But I think learning about money, like teaching us about managing your money, for us it would have been good as we went out into the world to know, what the pitfalls are, what not to do, what to do. Because you're right, they just kind of turned us loose and off we went.
And you get your first credit card, newly married, whatever.
Right.
You get your first credit card for Christmas, and it's like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get anything.
It's the beginning of the end when you're in college. It's like,
Right.
oh no, I'll just use it for this. It'll be fine. I'll just use it for this too.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, oh my gosh, what have I got here? Yeah.
Chickens
not
come home
fun.
to roost for sure.
the truth.
I
They
wish
do.
too that they had considered moving closer to the kids because they were in on Isle of Hope in Savannah. That's where they were going to stay, and I would drop the hint every now and then about, Neil's in Florida and we're in Florida, and Florida's a pretty nice place, and I would just get complete. Who wants to live in Florida? Kind of. We have everything we need within 3 miles of where we live. and
Right.
Yeah.
The last thing I put on the list that I just scribbled down here, what I wish they'd done differently. I wish they had asked for help earlier when they needed it. Like when mom was starting to get Alzheimer's and
Yeah.
dad was starting to get older. And I get the sense they could have used help if one of us had been in town.
Yeah.
And they just didn't ask for it. Dad
Yeah.
didn't ask for it. Mom didn't know to ask for it at that point. I
Right.
wish they had asked for help earlier.
Right.
Yeah, me too. I know he mentioned it a few times or something, but when he mentioned it to me, it was sort of like, you need to figure out what you're going to do with us.
Yeah, right.
And it was sort of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
That was the first time I'd heard that. And it was definitely set off alarm bells. It would have been good to hear that like a year before, 2 years before, so that those years could have been better spent probably.
Yeah. Like in the next month, you guys need to figure this out.
That was exactly it, too. I mean, I don't think he knew that, but maybe he did in the
I
back of his
kind of wonder
mind.
if he knew, something was going
He
on.
was.
So turning the corner a little bit. So what advice would you give, or maybe you've given it, for young people that are going to be new parents or newly parents?
Childhood is very, very short.
Yes.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is.
It is unbelievable how quick it goes by. And everybody says this, and I was told the same thing. Enjoy it
Yeah,
while you
but you
can.
don't feel it when it's
exactly
happening.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember my daughter being little, like 3 years old, running around, and the next thing I know, she's off at college. I mean, it's just like, what happened? Everything in between's a blur. It's just unreal how quick it is. So enjoy it as you can.
And if you're young and you're having a baby, like your first baby or whatever, the tendency is to buy everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
Yes.
that when you're at that point where there's a baby coming, the parent doesn't know what's coming, what's happening. And then all these businesses are all like, blah, ha, ha, ha. You need this, you need this, you need this, you need this. And so you're getting everything you can imagine because you're going to need this for this
Right.
child. And there's not really that much that they really need in terms of all those gadgets and cool things. It's, relax a little bit. Enjoy the
Right.
baby.
Best thing we
Right.
did was for most of Lana's baby clothes, we would buy them in bulk on eBay because
Oh, that's perfect.
they're not
Yeah.
worn out because they wear them for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. And so you get them and they wear them and you wash them and then you sell them on eBay again. And
Yeah.
it was great because we spent no money on clothes when she was little like that. And so that would be my one recommendation.
Yeah, and babies too, especially newborn babies, you just have to go with the flow. Like they are going to dictate what they need and when you're going to do things. I remember being in the hospital with our first, with Matthew, our oldest. and we asked the nurse, do we need to wake him up to feed him? And she just laughed and laughed. If he's hungry, he'll let you know. Don't worry. He's not going to starve himself to death. Trust me on that. And it was true.
Feed him. Oh my gosh. What kind of parents are
Who
you?
was supposed to feed him? And then we had a baby monitor. So this was just the baby monitors, not the video camera, just the sound, So we had one of those because you got to have all the stuff, right? Got to have the stuff. Had the baby monitor set up in there, have it cranked, really loud in the bedroom. And of course he moves like his foot or something, moves his hand or his foot. It makes this very loud noise in the monitor. So we run in there to see if he's climbed out of bed, and he had to move. So that's when we figured out, okay, he's going to be all right.
He's climbing out of bed.
Right.
I remember thinking in that because the first 6 months, that's another thing you'd probably want to tell a new parent is nothing happens in the first 6 months that's good for you. I mean, there's no feedback in the first 6 months that is good. You're not going to get a smile. You might get like one for gas or something.
A belch,
A belch, yeah. But you don't get a I love you. You don't get a I want a hug or a smile or anything. It's just you're either crying because you want something or you're not crying, and then everything is good. And it's just those two. And I remember thinking, when is something going to happen? Like, when is this can't go forever like this, crawling or rolling over, or something's got to happen that moves us past this, like crying every night and needing so much, always needing. And I remember like one of those 2:00 in the morning things where Drew was crying. I think he might have had colic or something. And I remember thinking, this is how child abuse happens.
Right.
Because I would never do it, but I can really see how you could push some, a baby could push you to the point beyond you where you could control yourself. But I just remember having that thought of, this is why people would
lose their minds.
They would lose their minds and do something terrible.
Yep.
But
And there's a period where you feel like you'll never sleep through the night again. Like, I will never get a full night's sleep again. I just won't, because every 3 hours, whatever it is, you're up.
And diapers. We will never get out of diapers. We will be buying diapers for the next 30 years because this is just an unending thing.
Yeah.
boys just go forever before they figure out. The first one does anyway. It's like, golly, really? Come on.
It's so convenient. Just you don't have to go anywhere. You just,
Right.
Yeah. Right there.
And otherwise, that was kind of talking about infants and all that. But at a big picture, I would just say, embrace every moment, live every moment of that time. Don't let any of it get by you. Be present. And I've got a friend who's got two elementary school boys, and they play baseball. And she and her husband, they are into it. They are, Facebook all the time. You can tell they are, every single school dress up day, they're doing the whole thing. So that's all I would say is take advantage of every chance you get for that kind of stuff, because as we said, that it goes past you, and pretty soon they're not asking you to dress them up like 100-year-old man anymore for school or whatever. So.
That's true. Yeah, I remember driving Erin to school, and she would just talk my ear off. And then I remember picking her up at school, and again, or she'd get off the bus and just nonstop, Then I sat in this seat, and then so-and-so was mad at me because I didn't sit in this seat with them. And she just had this long drama, and she went to school 2 miles from the house. So all this stuff happened within, just a few minutes, really. And I remember thinking, oh boy, this is a lot. But then thinking one of these days she's not going to tell me all this. Yeah, she was a little extra. But I remember thinking, well, this is, one day she's not going to tell me anything. And sure enough, that day comes where how was your day? Fine.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you do at school today? Nothing.
Good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Yep. Another thing too is just to remember as parents to be human, and you can admit your mistakes to your kids. So if you go off and you start yelling, and just because you've had a bad day and the kid sets you off, it's great to come back to them and say, you know what? I was really in a bad mood and I didn't mean to take it out on you, and I'm really sorry. And that goes a long way because now mom and dad are human You know, they make mistakes too, and you set the example for them on, you know, when you have a bad day with your kid or with your friends or your spouse or whatever it is, you need to be able to apologize.
Yeah. Very true.
Another one I wrote down is don't be your kid's best friend, be their parent.
Yeah.
Which I don't think any of us had that problem. I think we were all very much into the parent mode and not the best friend mode, but it's easy to get into the best friend mode because you want your kids to like you. You want things to be streamlined and smooth sailing. And if I just am his best friend or her best friend, maybe life would be a little bit easier, but not in the long run, right?
Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed not being the best friend. It was fun to kind of, I don't know, be the person that's trying to help them out and not just go with whatever they were trying to do. And, you know, I'll never forget when I was at Neil's house and his son had decided he wanted to smoke cigarettes. He was older, I guess, 18 maybe or whatever. And, and Neil was great. He was like, so his son's out on the porch smoking a cigarette, and Neil goes out there and he's like, oh, you look really cool smoking that cigarette. You probably should have another one. Why don't you smoke another one? That would be cool. That looks really cool. And that went a long way. I mean, that was a fun way to point out that, you know, sitting out there in the cold, smoking your cigarette all by yourself was not really very cool.
That didn't last too long, I don't think. With him. As far as I know, it didn't. But then I think he moved on to at one point in high school, he would listen to music with very inappropriate lyrics. He had a pickup truck, and he had this tape in his truck that all his friends passed around. I guess it was just really disgusting lyrics. So I was driving his truck somewhere one time, cars in the shop, whatever it was, and it came on with this thing. And so I had to pick him up somewhere. I'm like, cool. I pick him up, turn the tape up. he gets this look on his face, turns it down. It's like, no, this is good. I turn it back up, you know. You don't have to listen to this, Dad.
I'll never forget one thing that happened to me with Erin when she was in elementary school. See, we didn't have any girls in our house, so we didn't know how they operate at all. And so I was very clueless about girls. And with girls, there comes a time, and I think it happens with boys too, but anytime there are three girls, two get together, and you never know which one is going to be the odd one out. Well, she was the odd one out of these three. And so, and I didn't know this was going on, and she didn't tell me anything about it until she was in the shower apparently thinking about it. And she got out of the shower, had the towel wrapped around her, and came out and said, and she was like, her lip was quivering and her eyes were watery, and she's like telling me, it just pours out, you know, my friends don't want to hang out with me anymore, and you know, they used to hang out with me all the time, they're my best friends, but blah, 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 blah. It was like a shock, you know, that she just, all this just poured out of her. And, you know, boys never do that I know of. They don't just you know, tell you everything.
Lana has learned a few times in her life and is kind of going through it now, is sometimes you have those friends who are more of, they pull you down because, you know, woe is them. They have all these problems. They're a victim of everything. And they just, you know, vomit this.
Suck the life out of you.
They vomit all this negativity on you. And so then there she is trying to pull them up. And she gets, a few times this happened to her, and she gets to the point where she's like, I'm done. I'm not playing this game anymore. It's time for me to move on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important for I think it's more so for girls than guys, I think, because, you know, guys can, I think we kind of have a shell we can put up, a wall we can put up, and it doesn't bother us as much.
My kids have certainly experienced something like that, and we weren't the ones to really talk about drawing the boundary. They did it, kind of like Lana did, right? Is, hey, I'm done. And it's just, it's a shame it had to get to that point, right, where you have to say that instead of just kind of mentally going, okay, I'm going to spend more time with these people than this person.
Yeah, and it's super healthy, I think, at a young age too, because then later in your life, when you encounter these people and you try to help and you try to help, and the third time you try to help and there's a fourth problem, then you just realize I've seen this before. I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
And boys are pretty clueless.
Maybe that's
probably
what it is, right? Yeah.
I really think so. I mean, they're just so much easier than girls. I mean, there's a lot going on in their heads and everything, but they just don't get a lot of the things that girls get. Girls get like relationships early on. They're like into relationships when they're in preschool almost. So that's more of a thing. And with boys, are just at that age, they're just knocking their heads against the wall, tearing stuff down.
That's the psychology, right? Because and I read this someplace that because men and boys are physically stronger and girls and women can't overpower a man's physical strength, they have to do it another way, and they do it through communication, and that's why their communication skills are so much better, because then they can make us dumb males do whatever it is they want us to do. So, yeah.
And it
There's
works.
nothing more fun than hearing like little girls like first grade, second grade talking to each other, and hearing the conversation. With boys, there's no conversation at that age, but with girls, it's a real like intense conversation that goes on.
Oh yeah,
it's real fun.
Boys at that age, they're talking about farting and stuff like
Right.
that. You know? Oh yeah.
Yeah, with girls, the Barbie dolls aren't getting along for some reason.
Right.
There's,
Right.
You know.
So here's a question. This may go a little deep or not, so leave it up to you guys. What do you wish you had done differently, if anything, as a parent of your kids? And I'll start us off since I kind of lowered the boom on this question. Spent more quality time with my kids. It's what Shaler said a minute ago. It just goes by fast, and you don't realize how fast it goes. So just every minute you can spend. I'll never forget. My son was when he was young, and a friend of his were going to go fishing, and the friend's dad was going to take him fishing, and I'm out doing the yard, and I've just got a ton of stuff to do that day. And they stopped by, you sure you don't want to go? And I'm like, I wish I could. I just can't. And that was the day my son caught his first fish.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, you idiot. I can't believe you missed that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to this day, I'm just kicking myself like, put the lawnmower in the garage and go fishing with your son.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please do that. So, I mean, we've certainly had other times that we spent together, but just you're never going to get it back. You're never going to get that time back. So just spend as much time as you can with them.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Really, just maximize the quality time with them. And I may not. I mean, they may argue with this. I don't know that I gave my kids as much direction as I could have in a way. Maybe too much direction in certain areas, but that's something that you're maturing as a person too. They don't tell you this when when you become a parent. There's not like a handbook. There's not like a secret club. You don't read anything. You just have a baby, so you're trying to figure it out. The first one's kind of the starter kid, right? That's the one you make your mistakes on. The second one, they can eat dirt. It's okay. Right. Whatever happens, so it kind of progresses, but you get better over time. So if I were to start over again, I'd probably be a much better parent than I was, before. But yeah, that's what I would think is just spending more intentional time together. That's what comes to mind.
What I realized through that is when I look back at mom and dad and just kind of look at it through a different lens of an adult, they weren't perfect people. They weren't perfect parents, but it didn't cause us to love them any less. Right. And so I think about that like when I fall short as a parent, and I think, gosh, I've really screwed up my kids, or gosh, I've really, done something terrible. Yes and no. There's a lot of grace there because you're the parent. And and
you kind of don't get a chance to do it over again. So when you make decisions, what I mean, I guess, is individual decisions. So you make decisions as a parent, You go on with it. Life goes on. And it's not like you could say, well, what if I did go fishing and what would you know, you don't really get a chance to do the what ifs too much because you're making decisions along the way. Things are happening. You're moving on, and you can't spend a whole lot of time Monday morning quarterbacking because each decision builds on the one before it, and you just do the best you can.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't live your life regretting the stuff like that, but
you can never tell what would have happened had you done something differently.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like in my case, we got divorced. The worst thing that could possibly happen. And it was at a time when my daughter was 14. Terrible time for that to happen. And that's just what happened. It fell apart. And there are decisions I could have made way earlier on, but then I wouldn't have these kids. Yeah. And it would have, so how do you go back and say, I should have gone this way or done this? I mean, I wouldn't be here now, and they wouldn't be who they are now and all that.
Right.
So all you can do is do the best you can when you're in it and, hope for the best.
You do you, boo.
You do you, boo.
There you
to
go.
Quote Jack.
There you go. Thanks, Jack.
great way to wrap up the podcast. You do you, boo.
Yep.
What advice do we have for new parents?
You do you, boo.
There it is.
The advice I got from my 4-year-old nephew. You do you, boo.
Yeah, it should be fine. Whatever you do should be fine. Don't worry.
right.
Just, it's probably okay.
That's the thing is you only get one shot at being a parent. And like you were saying, Neil, you can't go back and start over at any point.
Right.
And if you're not sure, call poison control. Like if you just don't know
exactly.
if maybe it's going to hurt him, just call
They
the
can
number.
help you.
Yeah, just call. Because that's one,
And there's also the nurture part of it that we get from our parents because our parents brought us up. So that's how we learned to be parents from our parents. And we had pretty good parents. So, by having good parents, we knew how to be good parents or, the good and the bad of our parents. But you do find yourself being your parent. You catch yourself, oh, man, that was dad.
That was a
What
dad
words?
right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just came right out.
Catch yourself in a car dealership describing what this picture is on the wall.
Right, exactly. That's what that is. And they have really great sausages. You should try their sausages. Eventually, you do turn into your father,
Whether you like it or not,
me
it's going to
invite it.
happen.
and it just blurts out. When you're talking to your kids, and you're like, "Whoa, what was that? That was Dad. How did that come out?"
Even
did he come
even
from?
the mannerisms. So I'll be sitting for a long time, and I'll stand up, and I'll kind of be hunched over before I can straighten out. And I think of Dad getting up out of that blue chair and kind of being hunched over and walking for a little while.
Yeah.
I think, oh, it's happening. It's happening.
Do you hike your pants up with your forearms? When you start doing that, then you'll know.
That's when you become grandpa. Yeah.
Like Grandpa.
That's your grandfather, yeah.
I haven't really done that yet, but yeah. But what's interesting? So not that anyone cares about this except for us, but Grandpa, when he would cut the yard, he had these gloves, leather. I think they were kind of a yellowish
I remember.
leather
Yeah.
gloves that he would
I
wear.
remember this.
Guess what I have to cut the yard?
Yellow leather gloves.
Every time I put them on, I think of Grandpa. Yeah.
I've got leather gloves. They're not yellow, but same thing because they have that smell like leather and grass. And
Yep.
Because I remember going into their basement and that smell would be there. The gasoline, the grass, and the leather gloves. And it would just,
Boy, that man would sweat when he would cut the yard. He would be soaking, drenched, wet.
Because he's wearing long pants and a button-down shirt. So,
Yeah. Yep. That's what you wore. Well, if he wasn't wearing that, he was wearing a tie and a coat.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very.
Not to mow the grass, but other
No,
times.
Not to mow the grass, but just normally.
All the rest of the
Very
time.
different generation
After
than
6
than
o'clock.
ours. So, yeah.
For sure.
And he had that hat he would wear when he drove, and then he would tell you, "Don't ever trust a man that drives wearing a hat." So
No.
oh,
You got
I have
that
it wrong.
So Grandpa wore a hat
Right.
when he drove. Pop, Mom's dad, said never trust a man with a hat
Got it. All right.
if they're driving.
Which, interestingly, everybody in Pop's day wore a hat except for Pop. He was the one guy at the University of Alabama that did not wear a hat.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep.
When he was teaching Mom to drive, he told her never trust a man in a hat.
Gotcha.
Which I guess meant never trust
Maybe
a man.
that's what it was. Maybe that is what it was.
That's good advice.
Only
if you have a
trust your
daughter.
father.
right. Only trust your father who
Yes.
doesn't wear a hat.
Yep. Exactly.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Right. So good luck, parents.
Yeah, you got
Good
that
luck.
right.
Yeah. You got one shot. There's no going back.
Don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up.
man. There is no mercy. You can totally mess up your kids with one word.
The Williams Brothers podcast is made possible by a grant from the Saunce Group. Do something good every chance you get. And by the Williams Foundation. The theme song is 5-Card Shuffle by Kevin MacLeod.
Hey, just a reminder for our 3 listeners, the Williams Bros Tunes playlist on Spotify added a few more songs to it. My favorite of which is, where can I find it? It's the, it's right here. Creatures of the Night. Only Murders in the Building. Who added that?
Me.
That's awesome. I was just listening to the playlist just to listen to it, and suddenly there's Martin Short singing "Creatures of the Night."
We watched that show when it was on, and Dawn always falls asleep on the sofa. And then my tradition is I go upstairs, I call down to her a few times, "Hey, come on upstairs." Okay. And then she's asleep the whole time. She has no idea I'm even, like, the next day she doesn't remember any of this. And then I'll play a song on the speaker downstairs, and that's what I played that night was Creatures of the Night, because we had just watched that episode. So it was awesome. It was so much fun. I usually try and play something from the TV show we were watching. So.
They've got the Pickwick triplet song on there also on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got that. There are 3 songs total that are from that show.
Yeah. Oh, the Meryl Streep song. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, man.
They're pretty
incredible.
good songs, too. They're not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun that they did like a little mini Broadway play as part of the show.
I loved the episode with the White Room.
Yes.
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Where he would go to the White Room, and then he would come back from the White Room, and everything was like torn to pieces, and you had no idea what happened. Yeah.
Don't tell me too much. Don't tell me
That
too
was
much.
awesome. And
It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
you
all
haven't
right.
watched it.
Oh,
yet.
it's good. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm not
That's
ruining
all right.
anything with that. It's just
No. You'll know it when you see it, though. Yeah.
apparently in show business, when you get too nervous, you go to the White Room. Like, you're so nervous that you just
black out.
lose it.
Gotcha.
You black out. Yeah. And so he's in the White Room, and everything is wonderful, and it's all white and shiny. And then when he comes out of the White Room, everybody's looking at him like,
What did you do?
He doesn't remember what he did.
yeah,
Leaves his body for a little bit.
like he's like spewing curse words or who knows what. So it's pretty funny.